home society, my home society where I got opportunity to learn physics, and I see some of the professors here, like I see Daud sir and many others here. So thank you so much for teaching me. So I am here because of all of you. So thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Today I will not be talking the mainstream physics, but how to deliver physics, not how to create physics, but how to deliver physics in the classrooms, like so that we prepare our future stars. So that is our talk, the topic, and I have only 10 slides, but I can talk 10 hours on those slides. So because of the time limit, of course, I will try to finish within an hour. So I have a question, like, so do I do in Nepali or mixed language or English only? So before I start, I want to confirm with that. Thank you.
No, sir. You can use any language as your wish, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
You
Thank
can.
you so much. So let me share my screen with you. So I would like to have some thumbs up probably, or some kind of electronic signal, or if the screen is shared properly.
Yes, it is,
Okay.
but yeah, now it's good.
Okay. Thank you so much. I am talking today about again, not on the physics, main physics research, but a kind of application of physics. Actually, I am talking about some cognitive psychology. So recently, I got an opportunity to work as a WPI Global Lab faculty fellow, and where I learned, I did a kind of research on cognitive psychology, like these multimedia principles. So I will be talking about the application of interactive multimedia in learning physics concepts. So as already introduced very nicely by Leknath sir, thank you. I am associate professor of teaching. My primary goal is to teach physics well. That's my primary job. And of course, I also do a bit of research on my side. So I'm also associate director of WPI Morgan Teaching Learning Center. In this capacity, I basically train the teaching assistants who are graduate students, and the university gives them a kind of a stipend. And so their job is to deliver in physics classrooms. And peer learning assistants, those are undergraduate students who have already taken the courses, and they are pedagogically trained. I also run pedagogy classes, and they are appointed as the peer learning assistant. They go to the classrooms in active learning classrooms, and they also are paired with the graduate teaching assistants in the laboratories. Okay, so this was the flyer, and I really thank again Malik sir and Nepal Physical Society for designing such a beautiful flyer. Thank you so much. So let me start. Multimedia in learning refers to more than one medium or media in teaching learning activities. For example, words, pictures, videos, and animations. There are primarily two ways by which external information flows to our sensory system. These are the two primary ways. These are words via auditory channel through our ears. हाम्रो कानबाट चाहिँ हामीले सुनेर वर्ड्सहरू सुनेर चाहिँ त्यो इन्फर्मेसन चाहिँ हाम्रो सेन्ट्रल नर्भस सिस्टम अर ब्रेन जहाँ चाहिँ यसको चाहिँ कग्निटिभली एनालाइज हुन्छ त्यहाँ एउटा path त्यो भयो. And the other one is pictures, including videos and animations via visual channel. Of course, that is through our eyes. हाम्रो आँखाबाट हामीले जब कुनै कुरा देख्छौँ त्यो चाहिँ एउटा भनौँ न एउटा चाहिँ फिजियोलोजिकल प्रोसेस. फर्स्ट फिजिकल, हाम्रो आँखा बेसिकली लेन्सै भयो फिजिक्समा, अनि त्यसपछि फिजिकल अनि फिजियोलोजिकल प्रोसेसबाट चाहिँ सेन्ट्रल नर्भस सिस्टम एन्ड ब्रेनमा गएर चाहिँ त्योलाई चाहिँ एनालाइज हुन्छ. So these are the two primary channels we are focusing on. So for example, Newton's third law of motion, basically the physics we will see in these slides, everyone is familiar with that. So basically I am applying the interactive multimedia in the delivery of the physics contents in the classrooms. So Newton's third law of motion, we know to every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. So that is the words. I can narrate the words. I can tell the words. Say, okay, guys, this is Newton's third law of motion. This says this, like to every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. Students listen to that. They hear that, and that activates their auditory channel, and that goes to the goes to our sensory system, central nervous system, and the brain, and where there is like somewhere the place for cognitive analysis, cognitive processing. So, or we can also go through like audio recorded. I have recorded my voice here.
To every action, there is an equal but opposite reaction.
Okay, so in this here, like either I speak, the instructors speak themselves, or the recorded voice, both of them activate basically the auditory channel. And the second one is the pictures, like Newton's third law, which has been illustrated in this picture on the right. There is a swimmer. So swimmer is pushing by her feet on the wall of the pool, swimming pool, backward. We see an arrow here, which is a kind of action force, and the wall pushes the swimmer in forward direction, which is the reaction force. Like, so students see this picture, and they learn from the picture. And another one is the simulation, like animations. So that is basically my focus, a kind of my, I am applying this for a long time. So let me also go to this website and show you a small simulation. Just to confirm that the technology working right, could you please kindly confirm this page is shown properly?
Yes, sir.
It is okay.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Yeah, thank you so much. So here, this is a simulation in fifth simulation, one of the very popular simulation actually. And here, the two masses, M1 and M2. So here at the top, that is a kind of illustration in words about the Newton's third law of motion. For example, I can change, there is, it has a lot of flexibility. I can change the masses, for example. I can change the masses here, or I can keep mass constant, and I can change the distance closer and away, right? And we see that basically in my context, in this context, like basically student will be observing these arrows, right? One arrow which is pointing to the right, other arrow which is pointing to the left, and those arrows, no matter how close those two objects go or how far away they go, right? The lengths of the arrows are equal, demonstrating that the magnitude is equal, magnitude of forces are equal, but in opposite direction, right? So yeah, mathikoमा चाहिँ जस्तै 2.65 times 10 to the power minus 7 Newton छ, तलकोमा चाहिँ 2.65 times 10 to the power minus 7 Newton छ, right? We can also change the mass, right? Or if we want, we can fix the size of the mass. So basically, the goal of the application of this animation which students play is to observe, to play and observe visually. Actually, they have also recently incorporated sound. When I play, you can, when I drag these sliders, you can also hear the sound, right? So probably that is another additional feature, right? So this animation is more effective. It has been found these animations are more effective visually compared to the words. Okay, so that is basically what I, up to now in this slide, my goal was to introduce the activation of two channels. One is auditory channel by the words or the narration, and another is visual channel by observing thing, by watching, by looking into something, or by doing some kind of animations. Again, that is also visual, and it can also integrate audio. For example, in this simulation, there was that sound probably that was done to bring the user's attention toward the material. So what does Mayer's cognitive theory say? Multimedia instruction helps students to learn more deeply because it takes advantage of the two separate channels and allows the student to go through the process of making multiple models to really understand the material that is presented to them. So basically, if we split this into pieces, so we see there are basically two main points here: the information from words via auditory channel, and the information from pictures, which can be still pictures, which can be videos and animations via visual channel, make multiple models in our sensory system, right? And these will make the transfer of knowledge more effective. That is, it will be a deep learning of the material. That's what the cognitive psychologists say, right? So I mean, we can read the material, we can see the pictures, but like just looking into the picture or just seeing the material, that may not create a kind of a strong transfer of knowledge. So these two integration of those two make the research-based model have research-based results have shown that these two integration of these two models will be, or the two channels, better say, make the strong transfer of knowledge, or the deep learning of the material. So there are multiple research-based outcomes, multiple principles based on research given by Richard Mayer, who is a researcher and professor at University of California, I believe, Santa Barbara. So I think that's correct. So he gave the following cognitive principle for reducing extraneous processing in multimedia learning. So here, this is a very, very important term here I have highlighted. So there are two kinds of information. Basically, he divides information in two kinds. One is extraneous information, other is essential information. So our goal as an instructor to be effective teacher should be focusing on delivering essential information, not extraneous information. According to the researchers, this extraneous information will increase unnecessary load in the working memory, and which is not effective in learning the material which we want to deliver. So some of these principles I quickly mention, and a couple of them I have illustrated. So coherence principle tells people learn better when extraneous words, pictures, and sounds are excluded rather than included. हामीले मलाई अलिकति यसलाई नेपालीमा पनि एक्सप्लेन गरौँ। अननेसेसरी कुराहरू चाहिँ हामीले एड गर्ने हाम्रो चाहिँ टिचिङ मेटेरियलमा अथवा डेलिभर इन्स्ट्रक्सनल मेटेरियलमा अननेसेसरी कुराहरू एड गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यसले चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि अननेसेसरी लोड चाहिँ ब्रेनमा डेभलप गर्छ, र हामीले चाहेको जुन एसेन्सियल कुरा हो त्यो चाहिँ प्रपरली डेलिभर हुन सक्दैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि rather than adding those unnecessary information, we better exclude that, and that is called the coherence principle. Actually, this term is very popular among physics community, among us. There we know in quantum mechanics, even in classical physics, like the idea of coherence, like coherence of laser or coherence of so many things. So here it is particularly used for the cognitive psychology. The second one is redundancy principle. So people learn better from graphics and narration, and then from graphics, narration, and on-screen text. So यसले के भन्छ भन्दाखेरि हामीले ग्राफिक्स र न्यारेसन मात्र युज गर्दा चाहिँ बेटर हुन्छ। ग्राफिक्स, न्यारेसन र अन स्क्रिन टेक्स्ट गर्यो भने त्यसले चाहिँ त्यो अन स्क्रिन टेक्स्टले चाहिँ ग्राफिक्स र न्यारेसनमा थप्दाखेरि त्यसले चाहिँ एडिसनल कग्निटिभ जुन कग्निटिभ लोडमा चाहिँ एक्सट्रेनियस लोड एसेन्सियल इन्फर्मेसनको अतिरिक्त त्यसले चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ एक्सट्रेनियस इन्फर्मेसन पनि थपिदिँदो रहेछ. Next is the signaling principle. Probably you have already seen here. I have highlighted blue, green, light green, yellow, like that. So that is basically the idea of signaling. So people learn better when cues that highlight the organization of essential material are needed. हामीले कुनै स्लाइड बनायौँ अथवा कुनै प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्यो भने कुनै कलरबाट चाहिँ कलरले अथवा कुनै तरिकाले अथवा त्यो पर्टिकुलर चाहिँ एनिमेसन गरेर हुन्छ अथवा त्यसलाई हाइलाइट गर्यो भने लर्नर्सहरूको चाहिँ त्यो उनीहरूको लर्निङ चाहिँ फोकस चाहिँ त्यसमा हुन्छ र द्याट विल हेल्प एटेनिङ द गोल. Another one is spatial contiguity principle. People learn better when corresponding words and pictures are presented near rather than far from each other on the page or screen. भने चाहिँ यसको चाहिँ मैले अर्को स्लाइडमा इलस्ट्रेट पनि गरेको छु. भनौँ न कुनै पनि हामीले मेटेरियलहरू देखायो पावर पोइन्टमा भने त्यो स्लाइड्सहरू प्रिपेयर गर्दाखेरि एक ठाउँमा चाहिँ पिक्चर अथवा भिडियो अथवा भनौँ न र अर्को ठाउँमा चाहिँ क्याप्सन गरेर चाहिँ वर्ड्सहरू राख्यो भने त्यसले चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ लेस इफेक्टिभ हुँदो रहेछ. त्यसलाई चाहिँ नजिकै राख्दाखेरि मोर इफेक्टिभ हुँदो रहेछ. अर्को चाहिँ टेम्पोरल कन्टिग्युटी प्रिन्सिपल. यसले चाहिँ के भन्छ भन्दाखेरि मैले कुनै कुरा देखाइरहेको छु भने स्पिक साइमल्टेनियसली. भनौँ न मैले एउटा कुरा आई हेभ इलस्ट्रेसन इन द नेक्स्ट पेज, तर मैले एउटा कुरा भने अनि एकछिन पछाडि चाहिँ मैले चाहिँ त्यो स्लाइड सो गरेँ अथवा त्यो पिक्चर देखाएँ अथवा पहिले पिक्चर देखाएँ अनि पछि मात्रै चाहिँ त्यसको डिस्क्रिप्सन गर्यो भने त्यो चाहिँ लेस इफेक्टिभ हुँदो रहेछ. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि युज देम काइन्ड अफ साइमल्टेनियसली. ओके, so these are the 5 of maybe 12 principle. Out of 12 principles, these are 5 principles which reduce extraneous information, extraneous processing, and make the cognitive process more effective, learning more effective. So these are published in by Richard Mayer, 2001, Multimedia Learning, Cambridge University Press, the reference at the bottom. Okay, I would like to quickly pause for a second and my pace is everything is going well, or at least one feedback, please.
I think it's good, going well, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's continue. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, here I have done some illustration of particularly 2 principles, because these are mostly used in our slides when we prepare the slides in PowerPoint, or when we do even write on the board, etc. So the first one is spatial contiguity principle. So people learn better when related words and pictures happen side by side. So here is an example. The following picture shows a schematic of a young double slit experiment. So here we can see 2 pictures. यहाँले हेर्नुभयो भने left तिर right तिर exactly the same picture हो. Exactly the same picture हो. I took this picture from Encyclopedia Britannica. So left hand side मा पनि young double slit experiment नै हो, right side मा पनि young double slit experiment हो. मेरो objective आजको क्लासको यो क्लासको मेरो objective, यो slide को मेरो objective के हो भने I want to explain, I want students to learn about the young double slit experiments concept. That's my goal. Left hand side में मैले यहाँ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 र नम्बरिङ गरेँ. र 1 भनेको चाहिँ लाइट सोर्स, 2 भनेको चाहिँ स्क्रिन विथ डबल स्लिट्स, 3 भनेको चाहिँ वेभ फ्रन्ट, 4 भनेको चाहिँ डिस्ट्रक्टिभ इन्टरफियरेन्स, 5 भनेको लाइट वेभ, 6 भनेको चाहिँ इन्टरफियरेन्स प्याटर्न अन द स्क्रिन, 7 भनेको चाहिँ इन्टेन्सिटी डिस्ट्रिब्युसन कर्भ, 8 भनेको चाहिँ कन्स्ट्रक्टिभ एन्ड डिस्ट्रक्टिभ इन्टरफियरेन्स, एन्ड 9 भनेको चाहिँ कन्स्ट्रक्टिभ इन्टरफियरेन्स भनेर मैले यसरी माथि पिक्चरमा भएको कुरालाई चाहिँ के गरेँ, क्याप्सनिङ गरेर तल राखेँ. मैले निट त बनाएँ स्लाइड, तर यसले चाहिँ लर्निङ प्रोसेसमा चाहिँ एक्स्ट्रानियस लोड चाहिँ थप्दो रहेछ वर्किङ मेमोरीमा, र यो चाहिँ इफेक्टिभ हुँदो रहेनछ रिसर्च अनुसार। अनि त्यसैलाई राइट ह्यान्ड साइडमा ओरिजिनली त्यो पिक्चर चाहिँ यस्तो छ, ओरिजिनली पिक्चर छ, लाइट सोर्स राइट देयर, screen with double slits right there, wave front, light wave, destructive interference, interference pattern on the screen, intensity distribution curve, destructive interference, constructive interference, constructive interference pattern. यो यहाँहरूले पनि अहिले कस्तो फिल गर्नुभयो, तर यहाँ हामीले यो यहाँ 1 हेर्दै यहाँ तल 1 यहाँ 2 हेर्दाखेरि त्यो भनौँ न इट टेक्स सम टाइम, र त्यो ब्रेनले चाहिँ के गर्दछ भने ब्याक एन्ड फोर्थ गर्दाखेरि त्यसले चाहिँ वर्किङ मेमोरीमा एडिसनल लोड थप्दो रहेछ रिसर्चले भने अनुसार। र यो चाहिँ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि वाट डज द रिसर्च से, द आइडिया अफ डिजाइनिङ instructional material of this kind in the left is not right. Cognitively, it is not sound. On the right hand side, it is better, it is good. So the next is people learn better when related words and pictures happen simultaneously. What does that mean? यो चाहिँ मेरो एउटा example हो, let me read it. In a BEC means Bose-Einstein condensate based atom Michelson interferometer, a Bose-Einstein cloud, BEC cloud, is split by a laser pulse. The split clouds moving in opposite directions are reflected by a second pulse and are recombined by a third pulse. When I explain Gore, I gave this idea atom Michelson interferometer or matter wave interferometer. अनि मैले चाहिँ के गरेँ त्यसपछि भने I flash this animation. I am not rightly using the instructional material because it is violating temporal contiguity principle. मैले जुन वर्डमा एक्जाम्पलमा त्यो माथि पर्पल सेन्टेन्सेसमा जे कुरा भनेको छु, that is being demonstrated in this animation. There is a BEC cloud split by a laser. Okay, let me try to keep up with this pace. So BEC cloud is split with laser. They go in opposite direction, reflected by laser, recombined by laser, and there are 3 clouds in output ports. The same thing I have explained in words, right? So if I tell them side by side, so the working memory or the like our input channels, better say, input channels like visual and auditory channels, they coordinate better and they the learning happens better. यो चाहिँ मैले यो स्लाइड चाहिँ यहाँ किन पनि राखेको भन्दाखेरि यो चाहिँ मेरो PhD डिफेन्सको स्लाइड हो। इन April 24, 2012, while I was presenting my PhD dissertation, I had this in my slide. I really like this animation, and I would like to acknowledge my colleague of that time, Dr. James A. Stickney, for this animation. अब यहाँनिर एकछिन 1 मिनट जति म यहाँलाई चाहिँ यो स्लाइडमा थिङ्क गर्न चाहिँ रिक्वेस्ट गर्छु। यो स्लाइडमा चाहिँ कुन कुराले चाहिँ मायर्स अथवा मायर्सको कुन प्रिन्सिपलहरु चाहिँ भायोलेटेड भएको छन् अथवा कुन प्रिन्सिपलहरु चाहिँ फलोड भएको छन्। दिस इज माई लेक्चर स्लाइड ओरिजिनली, बट आई हेभ a kind of reorganized for the purpose of this presentation. यहाँले चाहिँ please, I will give you 1 minute, and if you want, you can put your feedback in the chat box. I'm not monitoring that, but or you can just think like some of these informations are extraneous. Some of these informations are like follow the Myers principle, like so. Please think about that. In case you want to interact now, please unmute and also give your thought. Thank you so much. I will wait for 1 minute. I see something in the chat box. Yep. Yeah, please share, unmute and share, please.
Namaskar, everyone. Myself Rudra. Sir, can I share my can I share my insights, sir, on your presentation?
Yeah, please be brief because we would like to go and then we have, of course, time at the end. Can you please briefly share your thoughts, please? Thank you.
Sir, I do think that after writing this formula, we don't have to write down so Coulomb's law, electrostatic force, accelerated, all these one we can say them, right, sir? So I think it will be better if we only write down this formula so that it won't be extra load on their minds, student minds. Then here, coming back here in the figure, so the figure to the right, I think no need to write all these ones. Simply we can illustrate and then it can indicate that this figure is on the right and this figure shows this. So I think it will be much more better way, as you mentioned, that it won't be an extra effort on the mind of the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rizendraji, for your thoughts. Thank you. I saw one hand raised by Susil. Could you please share a quick thought, please? Thank you.
नमस्ते, म वाइन स्टेट युनिभर्सिटी डेट्रोइटबाट। यसमा चाहिँ मलाई लागेको चाहिँ म धेरै कलर इरोनियस वर्डिङ भयो अनि मल्टिपल जुन कोहेरेन्सको अघि कुरा थियो, कोहेरेन्स त्यो भाइलेसन भयो जस्तै मल्टिपल कलरहरू राखेको छ, त्यही लाग्यो दुईटा सर्च। थ्याङ्क यू सर।
Thank you so much. Yes, yep. Yeah, there are a lot of repetitions and because when a student learn this, student your class Newton's third law probably some of you already pointed out very nicely. Thank you very much. Like after writing equation 1, I think writing equation 2 is just extraneous, right? And there is a kind of repetition at the bottom. So there are some violations of Meyer's principle, and there are some highlights which probably go with signaling principle, and they are good. Depicting the picture is a kind of nice because words and picture they activate auditory and visual channel. Right, good. Thank you so much. So now let's go to the next slide. How did I use this? This is a kind of a slide I presented 2 years before when I was invited to give a long talk of 2.5 hours. Actually, that was a long talk. So 1 hour and 50 minutes long class, 50-minute class per week on twice a week and once a week. 70 to 80 students in a class. Student PLA, peer learning assistant ratio was 3:1. Motivational video, demo, mini lecture, etc. And particularly for this presentation, the relevant is simulation-based worksheet and homework assignments, collaborative problem solving, think, pair, share. Here is half of the class, right? So I could fit well in my cell phone camera. Half of this, other half is not shown here. So this is a kind of studio format. Student go in round table and then they do simulations, they do collaborative problem solving, right? And now, since last 3 years, I am doing a scale up environment, 50 minutes class every weekday with 144 students, actually not 122, 144 students. So some multimedia applications. So what I'm doing, because of the time constraint, we can do later during our discussion, but because of time constraint, I am showing quickly flashing how I am using this multimedia in my classes. So in my introductory physics, electricity, and magnetism class, for example, I use these Phys-led simulations, which are available, which are freely available. I'm not explaining a lot now, but I quickly play. So student do this simulation, work on the simulation, watch what's going on, and probably they also read the content there, and they also discuss in among the friends around the table, and if they could not resolve the answer, could not come to a conclusion, they raise their hand and ask for me or the instructor or the peer learning assistants or teaching assistants, and they answer the worksheets. So worksheets look like this. Let me also show you the worksheet. So if any of you are interested to do this, I can share this material with you. That again, my goal is to spread the word so that everyone in various parts of the country in Nepal can use this kind of material. This is the worksheet designed based on that simulation. This is one of the 13 worksheets for this class. And now for, I'm not showing the solution now, but I can do that during discussion. So interactive multimedia used in higher level course. I also teach astrophysics course. And then this is a very beautiful simulation designed by the astrophysicist group at University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And this is a very, very nice simulation. You can check, this is freely available. You can use this for free. This was supported by National Science Foundation grants. You can see here, right? So this very nicely student can play, and then it is very illuminating, right? So later I can play, and I have designed homework based on that. Let me also show you the homework. This is a higher level course, 2000 level course, right? So here, this is on like the, I have designed a question for 30 points in the NAP lab simulation, use the applet hydrogen atom simulator, and I have given instructions here. They work on the simulation, they follow the instruction, and they answer the questions, and they submit their homework, right? And there is solution. Now, what I would like to do is, this is 6 minutes long video we created in WPI Global Lab. So what do the students say who use this as a learning material or who use this as a teaching material? So let's watch this video. I would like to quickly play and confirm that the sound is working well, and then I play again.
Namaste.
The sound good? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I am Rudra Kafle. I'm an associate teaching professor of physics at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, popularly known as WPI. I am also an associate director of WPI Morgan Teaching Learning Center, where I, in that capacity, train the teaching assistants and peer learning assistants. And currently, I am working on a project as a Global Lab faculty fellow. So my project is interactive multimedia in physics teaching and learning.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I'm a freshman at WPI, and I'm majoring in biomedical engineering. I took a physics course with Professor Kafle, B term of this year.
My name is Nika, and I'm a physics student at WPI. I've taken the interactive multimedia course with Professor Kafle 2 years ago as a student, and since then, I've been working with him and helping him as a peer learning assistant.
My name is Corey Abraham. I'm a second-year mechanical engineering major. I've taken one class with the active learning and one class without in the physics department. My experience with the active learning was much better than the remote online learning experience.
My name is Gabriel Goldman. I am an aerospace engineering major in the class of 2025, and I had a very positive experience using online simulations in active learning environment in our physics classroom.
Educational research has shown that this active learning increases student performance in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So what I did is I developed instructional materials based on Quizlet simulations. So there are a lot of online platforms now. Based on those simulations, some worksheets were designed, and students come to the class with their laptops. Actually, it can be done even in cell phones. Like these are highly, flexible, like you can use in cell phones.
I really enjoyed the interactive simulations that we took part in every single class. At the end of the class, there was a 10-minute period where we would basically be watching a simulation, that summarized the concepts that we're learning in class. I really enjoyed the visuals because they helped me connect physics to the real world. And it also basically brought to life what we were learning. It made it easier to learn. And it was also kind of like a checkpoint to see if I was understanding what we were doing, because the simulations were always on the topics that we were learning that day. So I was able to connect the concept with the visuals and understand if what I was doing made sense and what I was not understanding.
They do the simulations, they interact with each other, they interact with computer, they interact with other friends, other classmates around the table, and they are also assisted by pedagogically trained peer learning assistants.
The interactive multimedia course is beneficial for the students because it allows them to work in groups and help each other. And it's also beneficial for the TAs because the simulations allow the TAs to show these theoretical concepts and explain them with an experiment without actually conducting it, because conducting experiments is hard. And with the simulations, every student has their own experiments on their computers, and it allows them to tweak it in certain ways to learn it based on their own empirical experience and understand the concepts. From a teaching assistant perspective, the simulations are beneficial because it develops the necessary imaginations for a student who does not have prior physics experience or knowledge. And this imagination then helps them to later understand the problem, first of all, and then to solve it. From my own experience, I've had a student who had trouble understanding the lecture material, and after engaging with the simulations and after asking me for help, the student finally understood the learned material and why the formulas that were given, for example, were given as they were, and why the concepts that were taught was taught as they were.
In their feedback, they mentioned that they understand the physics concepts better in the classes where I integrated this interactive multimedia, these simulations, compared to the classes which took in like lecture-based method, like so ordinary classes.
There are a few major reasons of why I like the active learning much more than the less interactive remote. Just one of the biggest ones is that it's in person and that the PLAs are there to help you. If you have any questions, you can ask them to clarify and not miss any of the lecture. One of the biggest issues for me when I took it remote was if you don't understand something 30 minutes in, you're probably going to miss most of what happens for the rest of the lecture. And when the PLAs are there in person, you can ask them, clarify, and immediately move on. One other impactful factor for me in helped my understanding was the practice and clarification of questions directly after the lecture. Instead of going from a 1-hour lecture, waiting a few hours, and then doing the homework, having practice problems and homework directly afterwards so we don't forget any information was very helpful. For me, I've always learned by doing and seeing how things are applied in the real world. And when I get to practice the homework or use simulations, which have been very helpful for me, I understand it a lot better.
For me, I felt like physics deals with a lot of theoretical concepts, and so having a visual representation of those theoretical ideas helps you build a model in your head of those concepts that really helps you actually see in your mind's eye what is going on at a much smaller scale or at a kind of invisible scale, like you can't actually see what's happening. And so having animated online experiences that show you how those phenomena actually occur in nature and in the physics world really helped me understand at a deeper level what was going on in physics.
Right. So currently I am in this Global Lab Faculty Fellowship. So I'm trying to like redesign these activities based on some cognitive principles, cognitive theories, like how can we design better. And my ultimate goal is use these instructional materials, right, at WPI and beyond WPI. Like particularly I'm interested to apply these in developing countries like Nepal, where I did teaching high schools and college teaching for many, many years before I came to the United States.
Okay, so that was the
Namaste.
that was the students' feedback on the interactive multimedia learning. Some of them used the, as you saw, some of them were the teaching assistants, and some others were the students in the class, right? So that was my last slide. So finally, I would like to acknowledge WPI Physics Department giving me, creating this environment and other financial support and other kinds of things, and WPI Global Lab for my WPI Global Lab Faculty Fellowship, WPI Morgan Teaching and Learning Center for funding, internal funding, American Physical Society and American Association of Physics Teachers for WPI PhysTech Comprehensive Site Grant, which recently ended. That was for the last 3 years. That grant actually comes through the National Science Foundation, but AAPT and APS assign that to different institutions. And finally, I would like to give a big thank to all of you, to Nepal Physical Society, particularly Hari Shankar Malik sir. Malik sir sent me an email. Rudra sir, will you be available to give this presentation? Of course, this is a very busy time of the year. Classes are starting soon, but I really wanted to give this talk, and I accepted this, and I was happy that you contacted me. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And also, I would like to thank all the participants. You participated very actively. I hope I communicated some useful information which you might integrate in your instruction in the classroom. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer those questions. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Rudra sir, for your nice presentation. So now it is time for question and session. Just we have 10 to 15 minute time. So please precise your question direct to the Rudra sir. Please.
First of all, Rudra sir, thank you very much for this informative talk. I'm feeling, how can we improve the teaching over here in Nepal? Usually people say it's not in Nepal, everywhere. Physics is very difficult. How to improve it? It is the one way we can solve the problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hari sir. Hari sir को आज सोर्स सुन्न पाइयो. हरि सरसँग चाहिँ हामी सँगसँगै छुट्टिएका थियौँ. सियोल एयरपोर्टमा सर एटलान्टा फ्लाइ गर्नुभयो, हामी सिकागो गऱ्यौँ. आजभन्दा 19 वर्ष अगाडि हो सर. थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच.
थ्याङ्क यू. यो मैले सम्झिरहेको थिएँ.
हजुर.
ल
यहाँ एउटा क्वेसन रहेछ, क्यान वी युज दिस इन हायर लेभल क्लास? अहिले हाम्रो टाइमको कन्स्टेन्टले गर्दा मैले अरू सेयर गर्न सकिनँ, तर यस, द एन्सर इज यस, वी क्यान. जस्तै मैले क्लासिकल इलेक्ट्रोडाइनामिक्स, ग्रेजुएट लेभल क्लासिकल इलेक्ट्रोडाइनामिक्स पढाउँदाखेरि अफकोर्स हाम्रो ग्रेजुएट लेभलको अब्जेक्टिभ फरक हुन्छ. कन्सेप्ट धेरै जसो विद्यार्थीहरूले थाहा पाइसकेको हुन्छन्. हाम्रो मोर प्रब्लम सल्भिङ हुन्छ. तैपनि सर्टेन कम्पोनेन्ट वी क्यान युज. यहाँले एउटा चाहिँ देयर इज अ भेरी भेरी नाइस वेबसाइट, भिजुअल सिमुलेसन, आई मिन नट इन युट्युब. यहाँले त्यहाँ पनि हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ. म सेयर गरौँला, मलिक सरलाई पठाउँछु, मलिक सरले सेयर गर्नुहुन्छ हाम्रो मेम्बर्सहरूलाई. थ्याङ्क यू. इफ आई मिस एनी क्वेसन फ्रम द च्याट, मलिक सर?
छैन त्यस्तो. एउटा मेरो क्वेसन थियो सर, मैले नै राखेँ, अरूले नराख्दा. त्यो अघि न एउटा रिडन्डेन्सी प्रिन्सिपल थियो नि सर.
हजुर,
त्यो सरको त्यो लिस्टमा त्यो अलिकति इलाबोरेट गरिदिनुहुन्छ कि?
स्लाइड सेयर गरौँ.
स्लाइड नम्बर 5 थियो क्या? 5.
हस्, म सेयर गर्छु है सर, एकै मिनट है सर.
हुन्छ हुन्छ. फाइभमा yes, yeah, second number, redundancy principle.
Redundancy. यसमा चाहिँ सर हामीले ग्राफिक्स देखायो हैन सर?
हजुर.
अनि त्यसलाई भन्यो, न्यारेसन गर्यो, ग्राफिक्सलाई एक्सप्लेन गर्यो, अनि त्यसमा फेरि त्यस अन टप अफ दैट अन स्क्रिन टेक्स्ट पनि राख्यो भने त्यसले चाहिँ मोर कग्निटिभ लोड, अननेसेसरी कग्निटिभ लोड चाहिँ, एक्स्ट्रानियस लोड चाहिँ थप्ने रहेछ सर. त्यो चाहिँ यो हरेक प्रिन्सिपलको लागि एउटा पेपर चाहिँ there is one paper, published paper for each of these principles, their results. त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यो एडिसनल यो छ नि सर, यो अन स्क्रिन टेक्स्ट चाहिँ रिडन्डेन्ट भयो, एडिसनल थप भयो, यो एक किसिमले भनौँ न अननेसेसरी चाहिँ कम्पोनेन्ट हुने रहेछ सर।
ए ग्राफ राखिसके एक्सप्लेन मात्र गर्नु पर्यो होइन, ग्राफ देखाउनु पर्यो, त्यसमा लेख्नु चाहिँ भएन भनेर।
टु मच अननेसरी। हजुर हजुर।
ओके, थ्याङ्क यू सर, थ्याङ्क यू।
थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच।
रुद्र सर नमस्कार है।
हजुर नमस्ते।
म प्रेम ढुङ्गे।
प्रेम सर मेरो 20 वर्ष अगाडिको कलिग सर, नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार।
हजुर सर, क्वेसन सर प्लिज।
म यसैमा अहिलेकोमा त्यो के भन्छ यो टेक्स्ट नराख्ने त भन्नुभयो होइन, नेपालीको बानी छ नि भन्दा भन्दै टिप्न पनि थाक्छौँ नि हामी, नोट गर्न थाक्छौँ होइन, त्यसको इफेक्ट चाहिँ के हुन्छ सर?
हो एकदम सर, एकदम इन्ट्रेस्टिङ क्वेसन सोध्नुभयो। यहाँ के हुँदो रहेछ भन्दाखेरि भनौँ न अब त्यहाँ उनीहरूले चाहिँ एउटा सर्टेन मानक राखेको छ, सर्टेन नम्बर राखेको छ, त्यो नम्बर चाहिँ 100% छैन भनेपछि देयर आर सम क्याभिएट्स देयर, लाइक सो भनौँ न अरू डिफ्रेन्ट प्रिन्सिपलहरूले के भन्छ भने स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूले चाहिँ नोट टेकिङ गर्यो भने त्यसले चाहिँ लर्निङ चाहिँ मोर इफेक्टिभ हुन्छ, दे आर एक्चुअली फोकसिङ मोर भनेर भन्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि त्यो चाहिँ त्यो क्याभिएट भित्र पर्छ होला सर। थ्याङ्क यू फर द्याट गुड क्वेसन।
थ्याङ्क यू
सर। नमस्कार नमस्कार
सर। यस प्लिज गो अहेड सर।
सबै सर नमस्कार। म म्यामहरूमा पनि म देखिरहेको छु, सरहरूसँग एमएससी पढेको याद आइरहेको छ मलाई, धेरै सरहरू हुन्छ यहाँनिर। सर थ्याङ्क यू सो मच यो प्लेटफर्ममा। सर मैले चाहिँ अहिले हाई स्कुल पढाइरहेको छु होइन सर, हाई स्कुल भन्दा कि सेकेन्डरी स्कुल भन्ने काफुङ स्कुलमा, त्यहाँ चाहिँ सिमुलेसन चाहिँ एकदमै इफेक्टिभ भएको छ कि सर। अनि हजुरले भन्नुभयो चाहिँ त्यहाँ टेक्स्ट हाल्नुको साथै चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई क्वेसन दिने कि, जस्तै त्यो गर्दाखेरि चेक गर्न पनि सकिँदो रहेछ उनीहरूले कतिको बुझ्यो कि बुझेन भनेर होइन सर। सो सिमुलेसन्स देखाउने अनि त्यस पछाडि चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई एक्सप्लेन गर्ने अनि क्वेसन्सहरू दिने कि, अनि त्यो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ कतिको लेक्चर इफेक्टिभ छ भने त्यतिखेर पनि फिडब्याक आउँदो रहेछ सर। त थ्याङ्क यू सर, त्यो खालि मेरो आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्स मात्रै सेयर गर्न खोजेँ।
एउटा कुरा आई थिङ्क वी आर स्टिल अन द रेकर्ड। म एउटा कुरा के पनि प्रपोज गर्छु भने यदि यहाँहरू मध्ये यो कुराहरू क्लासरुममा अप्लाई गर्न इन्ट्रेस्टेड हुनुहुन्छ र यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ रिसर्चतिर लैजाने हो भने, फिजिक्स एजुकेसन रिसर्चतिर लैजाने हो भने देयर आर सर्टेन लजिस्टिक्स, भनौँ न त्यो आइआरबी भन्छ, इन्स्टिट्युसनल रिभ्यू बोर्ड भन्छ, त्यो गरेर वी क्यान अल्सो डु रिसर्च टुगेदर है। त्यसले गर्दा यो मैले जस्ट एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी, यु डोन्ट निड टु कम हियर, यु क्यान स्टे देयर इन नेपाल अर एनीवेयर, र हामीले चाहिँ जोइन्टली रिसर्च गरेर फिजिक्स एजुकेसन रिसर्चमा चाहिँ पेपरहरू पनि हामी निकाल्न सक्छौँ। तर अगेन आजको फोकस चाहिँ पर्टिकुलरली टिचिङकै लागि हो, तर यो त्यो अपर्च्युनिटी पनि हुन्छ। मैले धेरै यो रिसर्चको क्रममा मैले त्यो ग्लोबल ल्याब फ्याकल्टी फेलोसिपको बेलामा जब मैले रिसर्च गरेको थिएँ, लट अफ पब्लिकेसन्स फ्रम लाइक साउथ इस्ट एसिया, लाइक इन्डोनेसिया, मलेसियामा चाहिँ तपाईँले यो मल्टिमिडिया इन लर्निङ भन्नुभयो भने यु क्यान फाइन्ड टन्स अफ मेटेरियल्स देयर होइन, मतलब रिसर्च पेपरहरू। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि द्याट इज वान अपर्च्युनिटी। सो आई वुड लाइक टु इफ यु आर इन्ट्रेस्टेड, यहाँहरू चाहिँ लाई इन्ट्रेस्ट छ भने आई विल बी भेरी ह्याप्पी टु कोलाबोरेट। थ्याङ्क यू।
थ्याङ्क यू सर, थ्याङ्क यू। इज देयर एनी क्वेसन्स मोर? के छैन भने अब हामी इन्डतिर जान्छौँ। फाइनली lastly I would request our president ma'am to conclude the session and thank our speakers now.
Okay.
Hello ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much Rudra sir. Very interesting, very useful.
Leela ma'am, अलिकति इन्टर गरेर मलाई चाहिँ रुद्र काफ्ले अथवा रुद्र मात्रै भनिन्छ, because you were my professor at Trichandra College. Thank you.
That's very good हैन रुद्र काफ्ले। सुरुमा मैले पहिले एउटा यस्तै किसिमको टक प्रोग्राममा तपाईलाई नै मैले प्रपोज गरेको, अनि तपाईले मलाई भन्नुभयो थियो म्याम मेरो प्योर फिजिक्समा रिसर्च हैन, मेरो टिचिङमा, तर के छैन टिचिङमा पनि हामी यहाँ सबैजना टिचरहरू कहीँ ठाउँमा टिचिङ गरिरहनु भएको छ, इट माइट बी भेरी युजफुल भनेर मैले प्रपोज राखेको थिएँ। त्यसपछि मलिक सरलाई भनेर तपाईँ रिक्वेस्ट गरेर आज तपाईँको टक चाहिँ नि रियालिटीमा आयो। यो पहिल्यै थियो तपाईँलाई मैले रिक्वेस्ट गरेको होइन, जे होस् एकदम युजफुल र अहिलेको लागि जल्दो बल्दो, जस्तो अब हायर सेक्सनमा पनि हामीले युज गर्न सकिन्छ भन्नुभयो। फेरि तपाईँले रिसर्चको लागि पनि एक्सप्लोर गर्नुभयो यी एकदमै राम्रो अपर्च्युनिटी हो कि आजकल यहाँ हाम्रो जुन +2 लेभलदेखि हायर एजुकेसन मास्टर्स ब्याचलर र प्रोजेक्टहरू गराइरहेछ यो यिनीहरूमा पनि हामीले युज गर्न सकिन्छ कि प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड सिमुलेसन गराउने बेलामा होइन यी कुराहरूमा पनि केही किसिमको रिसर्च प्रपोजल राखेर थ्रु नेपाल फिजिकल सोसाइटीमा मसँग यही प्रब्लम छ कोही इन्ट्रेस्टेड हाम्रो फ्याकल्टी हुनुहुन्छ भने कोअर्डिनेसन हामीले गरिदिन सक्छौँ र यही थ्रुबाट हामीले जस्तै कहीँ जानु पर्दैन सो वी क्यान डु एभ्रिथिङ फ्रम हियर आइदर इन नेपाल or somewhere else as you said no this is a very good opportunity for all here okay so I'm very happy that this is useful सबैले बुझ्ने very interesting र more audience पनि छ यसमा किनकि टिपिकल रिसर्च भन्दाखेरि कसैलाई इन्ट्रेस्ट हुन्छ कसैलाई इन्ट्रेस्ट हुँदैन यो चाहिँ सबैलाई इन्ट्रेस्ट सबैले बुझ्ने फेरि सबैले पढाएर आएर इभन मैले पनि 20-25 वर्ष पढाएँ होला +2 मा न्युटन्स थ्योरी लहरू तर मैले यस्तो किसिमले कुनैले पनि पढाएको थिइनँ मलाई पनि एकदमै राम्रो रमाइलो लाग्यो यो टिचिङ मेथड अहिलेको लागि हामीलाई एकदम चाहिने अहिले स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई चाहिँ मलाई एकदम राम्रो लाग्यो कि अहिलेको स्टुडेन्ट अलिकता चाहिँ यहाँ हाम्रो आइटीतिर सम्बन्ध भएकोले यसमा चाहिँ धेरै कुराहरू उनीहरूले ग्राब गर्न सकिन्छ त्यसमा यो भन्दै फेरि पनि हामी टचमा बसिरहँ होइन र जाँदै गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो कन्फरेन्स गर्न लागेको इन्टरनेसनल कन्फरेन्स होइन रुद्र काफ्लेजी र तपाईँको त्यहाँ कोही कलिग्स फ्रेन्ड्सहरूलाई पनि यदि अनलाइनबाट पार्टिसिपेट हुन चाहनुहुन्छ भने पनि इट्स ओके अथवा टक दिएर यसमा कुनै किसिमको इनर्जीसँग रिलेटेड टक रिसर्च छ भने दिएर पनि पार्टिसिपेट गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ यो पनि नेपाल फिजिकल सोसाइटीको एउटा इन्टरनेसनल प्रोग्राम हो यो हामीले चाहिने यो प्रोग्राम चाहिँ आयुप्यापले हामीलाई मेम्बरसिप दिन लागेको छ कि अनि त्यो मेम्बरसिपको लागि एमओयू गर्न आउन लागेको उनीहरूले यसको लागि हामीले एउटा ग्रान्ड सेलिब्रेसनको रूपमा यो हामीले कन्फरेन्स अर्गनाइज गरेको त्यसमा बढीमा बढी पार्टिसिपेसन बढी भयो भने आयुप्यापको टिमहरू आउन लागेको छ यहाँ जहाँ यो चाहिँ न्युज अलिकता चाहिँ सर्कुलेट पनि गरिदिनु भन्दै होइन भेरी इन्ट्रेस्टिङ र अब यो हाम्रो त गुड नाइट तपाईँलाई त भेरी गुड डे भन्नु पर्यो होइन त्यो भन्दै थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, madam. Before हामीले यो रेकर्डिङ स्टप गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि एउटा कुरा चाहिँ मैले लास्ट इयर 8वटा एपिसोड चाहिँ एसोसिएसन अफ नेपाली फिजिसियन अमेरिकाबाट चाहिँ राति 10 बजे नेपालको 7-8 बजेतिर चाहिँ मैले एउटा इनोभेटिभ टिचिङ एन्ड स्कलरसिप अफ टिचिङ एन्ड लर्निङ भन्ने चलाएको थिएँ र यो वर्ष चाहिँ म र हाम्रो एकजना युनिभर्सिटी अफ नर्थ क्यारोलाइना सार्लोटको एकजना उमेश सिलवाल भन्ने उहाँ चाहिँ मेरो त्रिचन्द्रमा मैले बिएससी पढाएको विद्यार्थी हुनुहुन्छ तर अहिले चाहिँ युनिभर्सिटी अफ नर्थ क्यारोलाइना सार्लोटमा हुनुहुन्छ हामीले चाहिँ इनोभेटिभ टिचिङ स्कलरसिप अफ टिचिङ एन्ड लर्निङ एन्ड फिजिकल एजुकेसन रिसर्च भनेर एउटा चाहिँ मन्थली प्रोग्राम चाहिँ गर्दैछौँ र यो एउटा जानकारीको लागि यदि इफ यु आर इन्ट्रेस्टेड वान अफ यु क्यान बी अ स्पिकर एनी अफ यु क्यान स्पिकर सो थ्याङ्क यू सो मच आई जस्ट प्रोफेसर डाक्टर इन्द्रबहादुर कार्की सर नमस्कार सर पहिले पनि एकपल्ट हाम्रो इन्टरेक्सन भएको थियो हामी इन्फर्मल टक गर्ने भने यो रेकर्डिङ चाहिँ अब हामीले स्टप गर्नुभयो हुन्छ होला मलिक सर थ्याङ्क यू
एकैछिन एउटा चाहिँ हामी ग्रुप फोटो खिचौँ अनि त्यसपछि स्टप गरौँला सर सो सबैलाई मैले रिक्वेस्ट गरेँ आफ्नो आफ्नो क्यामेरा अन गरिदिनु अनि एउटा ग्रुप फोटो लिउँ ओके थ्याङ्क यू थ्याङ्क यू अहिले फोटोको बेलामा पो मैले सरहरूलाई देखेँ एकदम खुसी लाग्यो सिनियर सरहरू हुनुहुँदो रहेछ ओके थ्याङ्क यू ल रेकर्डिङ स्टप गरेँ है मैले अरू केही कसैलाई सोध्नु छ